Okay, that sounds a lot better. All right, cool. I think I'm recording on my end, so I think we're all good to start. And we can kick this off. Thanks for joining us, guys. This is our second AMA that we've done.
Yeah, she's from the last one.
Well, and Downtime was...
Which makes sense.
Downtime was 4 episodes ago.
Yep.
So it was 4 episodes in total. So it's been a while.
Wow.
But yeah, we have a lot of questions to get through. So we're excited to have Sarah here too.
Thank
Yay!
you all for the questions.
Hi, Sarah. Hello. All right. So I think we'll just do the same thing that we did last time, and we'll kind of just go around robin. I'll start, and then let's go counterclockwise from what I have. So next is Jonny, then John, and then Maya, and then last is Sarah, because the first few questions are all for you, Sarah.
Oh boy.
So
you're a special guest.
Whoop whoop. All right.
No pressure.
First one, no pressure or anything, but how many attempted relationships did the queen ruin before Tiff started giving up?
This question is devastating. All of them. Literally all of them. I mean, like, in the game that I play with Jonny, like, when she's a teen, I feel like it's just like a slow descent into losing all of her friends as the queen is asking more and more of her, and everybody around her is, like, suspicious of the queen, and that just makes Tiff, hello, Justin, very grumpy and side with the queen.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. That was a question from Thrythlind. Thanks, Thrythlind.
Well, I can add on a little bit to that, because I can tell you that it is
Please
not
do.
it in that game where Tiff is a teenager. It's not just romantic relationships that the queen is ruining.
Oh, yeah.
It is basically any and all trust between any and all other human beings, and yeah, the more Tiff sides with the queen, the more people distrust her, and as you've seen, Tiff doesn't like being distrusted, which just drives her further into old patterns.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Downward spiral.
Okay, perfect. Next question, Jonny. Why don't you take this question
Do
from
you
Maya?
Do you want me just to ask it? This is just for me?
I would prefer to not be the one to ask the question.
So was Tiff always that thirsty? And, like, what type of woman is Tiff looking for, asking for a friend?
I can also answer this question. The answer to the first is yes.
Hold on.
Yes, she was.
She needs
Just
to
had
drink
to
water.
drink some
Tiff
water.
is very thirsty.
The game from which Tiff had her genesis takes place in 2003 in my high school hometown. So thirsty wasn't au courant in those days, but yes, just about. She was the original female character exists. Tiff, hey.
Yeah. That's very true.
And we did find out that the only way I was able to introduce a female NPC that Tiff didn't immediately crush on was to have that NPC like her.
Somebody's nice to me. Gross.
Eat them.
I also love, just as an aside, that Sarah had never played any games with us prior to this, other than I think maybe we had one crossover, but she had heard about the author, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, my kind of woman." And then as soon as she's introduced to her in the game, she's just like, "Yes, what? What do you need?"
Jonny makes really good mean female characters, okay? It's not my fault. You guys have an author in your game who's like all business. I didn't know how evil she was. Just knew she was mean. I didn't know she was like genocidal. My bad.
I remember there was some, like, early on there was some clip before, I think this was even before we were even planning on recording it for podcast purposes. There was some clip that had a conversation between Casey and the author, and we sent it out to like everyone in our larger gaming group, and Sarah was like, who's this author character? She's cool.
I feel like at the time she was the producer. It was before she got her promotion.
True.
but-
Who's the producer?
Yeah.
We. I feel like we're really coming for you here, Sarah.
Fine, I deserve it.
Hey, we
Ju-
love our
Justin's
guests.
there for
Extremely
support.
predictable. He is.
Hmm. Oh my god. Okay. Well, then, Jonny, why don't you ask the next question then?
How many of the NPCs in the cover story does Tiff have a history with?
Hi, Justin.
Tommy and Nick for sure, both of whom she was not huge fans of,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
still isn't. I think that's it for this crossover. Well, Leth, but you haven't met Leth yet in this game, so
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned.
yeah.
Yeah, speaking of attempted relationships that were ruined before Tiff started giving up.
Yeah.
Leth was... Who was Leth, Tiff?
Leth was Tiff's hot goth GF.
Yes.
She like comes from another dimension and she's like super cool and smart and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
You
love
know,
her.
things
I
went-
didn't know that. I didn't know she came from another dimension.
She does. She lost all her memories of that time though. She was like living as a high schooler. I think initially like in hiding or something like that, but then she only remembered her time as a high schooler. So
Mm-hmm. Just complicated.
yeah,
You have-
she's like
Complicated.
so deep.
I will plug. There is a very lovely love song that you have
Oh,
from
yeah.
Tiff to
Thank
Leth
you.
that is
Yeah.
available on.
Yeah, if you guys
Because of
follow
the
us
way
on our YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure we have it linked under the Games We Play album. Sarah sings a song about Leth on there. I'm pretty sure it's on our YouTube.
Yeah, it should be. It might be on the YouTube. It's for sure under my name
Yeah.
because of the way my record situation has to work. So it's me featuring Sarah, who actually wrote the
Hell
song
yeah.
and performed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I
it's-
think you did some guitar for it, so fine.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, Nick and Tommy, and then I
Thank you,
guess
Maya.
other than that, there's just like there's some history with Casey of from Ears, since you guys are both agents
Yep.
there. So there's like a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, because Johnny had introduced Tiff like on his own, like without me playing her.
Did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
you guys had encountered her before.
yeah, briefly during our season 1 finale, which obviously has never aired, we were in an alternate dimension and we encountered a version of Tiff Torres there that Johnny just played at the time, and Casey killed her.
Yeah, I think I killed her.
Surprise!
You threw her
You
into
did
some
'cause-
fire.
I remember I was really excited because Maya, you were telling me like we met Tiff, and I was like, oh my god, what happened? And you were like,
Oh,
Well,
Casey did what Casey does. She shot her. Oh, that was
first asked questions
actually no.
on-
You pushed her into fire. I'm pretty sure.
Fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like
I'll
that
do it.
because she was like the queen was telling her to betray us or something like that. I don't know. It was sus.
It was sus.
Classic queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
The queen concealed. She's not good
Awesome.
people.
All right. Moving on. John, want to take the next one?
Sure.
This is a good one for you to ask.
I know. Does Anna have any real romantic interest in Mark from her comment to Theo from Flirting Hardcore with Mark, or is it just how she is?
So, I think there was definitely an attraction on Anna's part. She was attracted to Mark and his weirdness. She likes people that have interesting stories to tell, and I think Mark's just Markness was appealing to her. But Anna,
And Markness didn't understand any of it.
Right. He was completely oblivious.
Yep.
So I think for her, yeah, there was definitely the attraction there. But Anna isn't one to like pine after somebody who's not going to have feelings for her. And I think she saw like, oh, he's not even picking up on this at all. And I think he has things for this other girl that seems like she maybe likes him too. So I don't want to mess with that. So she's like, no, I don't need to spend energy on that. So it was fun. It was fun for her to flirt though. And Mark just happened to be around and was, interesting to her. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mark will take it. He's like, that's fair.
Romantic sparring.
This is great. I love it.
What, Johnny?
Mark will get punched in the face several times before he'll notice.
Being like, no, cool. This is great. I love talking about this.
Fine.
Pass. How much is Anna getting paid at the magic shop? Related. How cold is that pizza?
The answer to the first question is stunningly little.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think the thing that
more than Brad.
For reasons
Brad.
for reasons that will become clear eventually, one of the things that Ramsey, Lincoln, and Anna actually have in common is a misunderstanding of and disinterest in matters of economy.
Yeah. No, I think Anna knew what she was getting into. She, I think, was just happy to have a job and any income at all, because I think, as she had said during the mystery, she does not, the likelihood of her getting a quote unquote normal job is going to be kind of harder because she doesn't have a social security number or whatever, things that most people would need for a legitimate job. So the Clockwork Child working at a magic shop seemed like a good alternative. And she was kind of willing to take, I think, what she could get. So, as far as the pizza, oh, it's so cold. It's been hours, you guys.
Question with that's not listed here. Like, was getting the job just kind of finding a sense of like purpose or anything like that, or like was there a compelling
yeah, for sure,
thing in that area that like spurred that? I guess I don't know.
So Anna doesn't really talk about it very much, but she absolutely has, especially after getting her own body. Mm-hmm. She wanted to essentially create her own identity, something that was separate from Kira, something that she could call her own, claim as her own. And so that was one of the first things that she would say. She wouldn't really talk about it very much because I do think she's a little struggling with it. But it means a lot to her to actually have something that's hers and that belongs to her. So yeah, so there definitely was that behind there.
Question: is Ramsey situationally aware enough to have ever eaten pizza before it cooled off anyway?
That's
absolutely. I think this is a thing that I feel like is a trope in fiction that involves things or people that aren't precisely human but briefly or suddenly become human, that they taste hot fresh pizza and are transformed. Mm-hmm. Yes, Ramsey has had pizza and it changed their life.
Nice.
You guys make me hungry right now.
You gotta eat before these. I will take the next question because I was thinking about a joke answer to it. Is Shadow Girls actually the name of a strip club for magical people and creatures? And if so, what is the cover charge? It's not actually the name of a strip club. It's a club for what, I mean, I guess that you consider it to be a consensual power exchange space.
I don't like this anymore.
And the cover charge is...
Oh, there we go.
Oh no, what happened, Johnny?
Oh no. Mid sentence.
Johnny! The cover
struck down.
Karma. No, Jonny. Okay, while he is hopefully trying to get his thing here, I want to respond to a comment that Dyxon had in the chat.
Yes, I saw that.
If only Anna knew someone who was extremely competent and connected and could probably get all of the proper IDs in a week or two. Cough, Donovan, cough. Yeah, Donovan could probably help with that, but Anna would never ask him for help because she hates him. So that would be a big no-no.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's I'm desperate to know about this cover charge business that Jonny is
Yeah, I'm on the edge now. I need to know.
Oh man. Okay. Well, hopefully
I mean Dyxon, you're not wrong.
He does that all the time when we are on like Discord or we're like we finish a session and he'll be like, "Well, bye," and like as he's in the middle of
Just
saying
delete.
bye, he hangs up. Doesn't even finish the sentence. Okay. Well, until he can come back, let's move on to the next one, Sarah. Or Maya. You already asked it. I'll ask this one since it was my question. How was guesting?
I read that as questing.
No,
but yeah.
guesting. How is it being a guest on the cover story campaign?
Good.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I feel like we'd already played together quite a bit before at that point. So
Yeah. It worked out pretty well.
Was
there
Mark
goes.
was Mark too aggressive?
In what way?
I think
Explain yourself.
What?
What do you mean too aggressive?
No, just was Mark too aggressive? Like I don't know. Like
No, I think everyone was quite aggressive.
That's true. Well, that leads in perfectly to my next question: is how awkward was it when everybody got mad at Tiff?
It was great. I was thriving actually because I love it when everyone's mad at Tiff.
This is true. Did Jonny
Yeah.
come back?
I think so.
Sorry,
I see his
I have to
icon.
restart my computer for reasons unclear. But I'm on my phone while I wait for my computer to come back.
Well, fun. We were just talking about everybody being mad at Tiff.
No, it was actually viscerally.
Default
It was
position.
deeply stressful. I remember like sweating and.
Yeah, it is true though that like I mean, we play a couple games with you too, and like that stuff always seems to be like where you really lean into it though, and you're like, oh yes, this is
Yeah.
juicy.
Be mad at me.
I like it when the little playthings fight.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I always like the juicy interpersonal drama the best.
For sure.
So that was fun.
And then related question, how do you think things might have played out differently if Kira hadn't reached out to help Tiff after everything went down with Casey's helps?
Sorry, I got distracted by this comment. This is you sounded really nervous when they were all mad at you because I was genuinely nervous, and I'm also just a deeply anxious person. But wait, sorry, what was the question?
The question was,
How would things have gone
yeah,
if Kira had not?
If
Yeah.
Kira hadn't reached out, how might things have changed and played out
I
differently?
think that would have been it, because like Tiff and Casey are both deeply stubborn, and like I don't see either one of them making amends.
It would be
So.
Kira stepping in to
Yeah.
help us make amends with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do wonder because, like, I don't think Tiff like wouldn't have ever. Would there ever have been a scenario where Tiff would have said yes to joining the drum and meant it?
Oh, I don't think so, unless it was some sort of like she'd reached some sort of breaking point and was trying to find a way to get rid of the queen or something.
If the queen asked,
Okay, fine, sure.
I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah, I guess.
It did seem like the queen was against the drum, though.
Mm-hmm.
Already,
Yeah.
Like, what was it, episode 2 or something? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the queen seemed to settle with like, yeah, you can ask Casey for help.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but if the author had asked Tiff out, would she have joined seriously? Well, yeah.
You need to have.
also, what's
No.
Justin doing right now? Sorry.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, Mama's little
look at that
angel.
little baby.
Mommy's
That's
special
adorable.
boy.
You're saying, Johnny?
So
I was saying if the author had asked Tiff out, you need to have like shared community and shared interests with your partner. So obviously you'd need to, work together
yeah,
to eradicate all
monsters.
unnatural magical beings.
But it's like fine. It's like low key. It's like in a low key way, like just a little bit of monster eradication.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So Jonny, what were you saying before your computer decided to hate you and turn off?
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah, I was saying that the cover charge for the Shadow Girls Power Exchange Club would be utter supplication.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
I need to look up a word. Hold on.
Ditto.
Oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't look it up right now.
What do you think it is?
All right. Sarah, do you have the questions, Sarah?
Yeah, let me open them again.
I will say it was a joy to have Sarah on as a guest. It really was, I think, added another fun dynamic to our whole little hunter makeup. And I think it did bring some good drama. Definitely brought some good drama, which was a lot of fun to play out. Some of the stuff that was like cut out from the edit, which was kind of hilarious, is that everybody else was mad at me for not being more mad at Tiff. And they're like, you should be furious right now. And so then I was like, okay, no, I'm working up to it. And then I said like the thing that Kira says where it's like, so let me get this straight. Everybody I know and love is stuck in another dimension and you're at a party. And then everybody was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, I think Casey, like when you stepped in when Casey was facing Tiff at the end.
You were angry.
Like, I was also mad at Kira. Like, you're going to defend this person that like not only like left my house, but also ruined part of my life earlier.
It wasn't about defending Tiff. It was about honestly making you not do something that you would regret. So
I have no regrets.
yeah.
So Sarah, you're gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want me to just read the next
Hang
one
on.
on this list here?
I want to say something cool about how it was to have Sarah guest.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the cool thing for me was to see how differently you played the same character at 17 in the game we play together, and then again 20 years later as an adult, but not like someone who has matured and grown, but more than that, just been through more of the same shit. So it was just really interesting. It was really interesting to watch you play this person that I could see the same kind of teenage edge, but now it's not as appropriate, and now it's kind of being held down, but just barely. And then also all this stuff with the queen was also extremely fun to play the queen who hasn't changed at all.
Yep.
That was really fun. That was a really cool experience. I was like stressed about it beforehand. I was like, how do I make her different?
You did so well. You did so well.
Thank you.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, it was cool what Jonny said about how the queen hadn't changed because like I think like Tiff's relationship with the queen definitely changed, but like the comments the queen was saying were the same comments. It was like Tiff had just learned to kind of like roll with it at that point. And like I really like their weird pseudo friendship and all that.
Yep. All right.
Toxic.
Toxic.
Okay, so I'm reading this next question here. Yes, which I believe is from Maya.
Yes.
Yes. This one's pressing mom. Earlier he said, hi, all done now. Mad. Mad.
Like before
Okay.
we did this, like right or
As
during
everyone
this?
was talking, yeah.
In case anybody doesn't know, Sarah's cat can talk and presses buttons. Is very, very good at talking.
He's over there right now saying
All the buttons on the
words.
floor.
He's an Instagram and TikTok superstar. You owe it to yourself to get in on it. Justin Bieber the cat.
It's true. He is a celebrity. I'm just a guest in my own home. Okay, so this question is from Maya. For the other hunters, how was your character thinking / feeling when Theo told you she was moving to Chicago?
Oof. Mark thought I feel like did something wrong. Like he was like,
Aw.
wait, what? He's like, wait, I don't like, because there was something between them, and then it was just kind of like you're like, am I supposed to do, like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
He's thinking he's doing everything like right and everything, and all of a sudden this happens, and I think he was just kind of
Internalized
lost
it
in the
a little.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
he's been, I feel like, so wrong in other situations. It just kind of like naturally came like, oh shit, what did I do?
Right. As for Kira, I mean, I think you guys kind of heard her reaction to it. She has got abandonment issues, and so I think she instantly, we all have trauma. It instantly went to just like, oh my God, like this is another person that I'm very close to that's leaving me. What can I do to get them to stay, kind of type thing. But ultimately, I think she, after Theo kind of revealed, I'm moving, and a little bit about really kind of telling her more for the first time about what her family has put her through, she gets it, and she's like, no, like, you should leave that situation. Like, that's a good opportunity for you. So she was sad, but she ultimately wants the best for Theo. So, and Anna isn't very close with Theo at this point yet. So I think for her, she's just like, okay, cool. See you. We'll go to the bean.
I think that was sort of like Casey's thought too.
Yeah.
But Casey was more just like, good for you. Like, you're growing up, kid.
Yep.
But...
And then the second part of that same question.
You want me to ask it?
Sure. Since it's your question.
Yeah, could all the cursors move out of the question, please?
No!
So I noticed that Marcus had checked his stone like several times throughout the course of this episode, as
That
well
sounds
as
like
into
me.
the future. What was he trying to find, or what was he hoping to see? Like, it's not a magic 8-ball.
Sometimes.
I mean, sometimes it is. I think honestly, Mark was looking for guidance, I think, and he just felt very attached to it, and he would check it every now and again to just like, am I missing something? Is what is the next thing that needs to happen here, or whatnot? I don't know. Like, he just felt lost in some situations, and he felt drawn or connected to it in a way that I don't know. It connected in a way that
you don't even understand the
yeah,
connection.
I don't even understand it. He was just he was looking to it for an answer, because
Well,
I think it was a moment of searching for Mark. Sorry, what?
What should I
That
do,
is something
Jesus Stone? Stone Jesus. Tomato.
What should I do, Stone? No, but I do think, I mean, you touch on it a little bit during this arc about how this stone has kind of been with you your whole life.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at Thrythlin's.
What should I do, Stone
Very
Jesus?
What should I do, Stone Jesus?
Shake. Situation
unclear.
Ask another question.
Act like a person.
Yes. But I do think, I mean, we talked about it in that episode that, like, that stone, I think, is something that's been with you for as long as you can remember. Yeah. So it was kind of like...
It was something that he got on
it's almost like a comfort blanket, a little. Like,
it honestly is. Yeah. And I think he was feeling a little bit lost at that time period, and he was looking to it for comfort, and it just happened to show him some things sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Was the stone something that you had from like day one?
No, yeah, it was. And the story behind it is I had gone on a field trip when I was a lot younger to, I believe, Hawaii. And I went up onto a volcano and took a shard of this glass.
This obsidian stone that you have.
This obsidian stone that I have, and I carried that with me. I just felt more drawn to it than the other rocks that are lying around. So,
as with most things with Mark, I'm immensely pleased with the sort of mental gymnastics and fictional gymnastics that I had to do to make that make sense. I don't think we're going to.
We lose Sarah?
I don't think we're going to see the the culmination of that for quite some time. But the reason why and the thing behind why that obsidian stone is interesting and important, I'm pleased with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. I think I've got the next one.
You can just go up a volcano. If you go to Hawaii, there are literal like
Yeah, there's pick
you can
paths
climb
up
up
there.
the mountain.
I guess it's just the way you phrase it. It's like, we just went up a volcano. This is something you do.
Like, hey, can I go up that?
Here, hold my beer.
I'm gonna go up that. All right.
All right. I've got a question from Ogre. Does Theo have paperwork backing up the Theo Jones persona that you like to use so much? Like a license or a passport? If not, and on the assumption she moves to Chicago, will she have any trouble with any Magio families in Chicago?
Ooh.
This sort of also feels like a question at Jonny as well.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't know anything about paperwork, but part of why this has become such a possibility for Theo is the success with which Jacob has had having his own. I believe we've talked about that he's known there as Jacob Nash.
Yes. Yep.
He's also living under an assumed name. He's also, I think, like, the thing about someone like him and someone like Theo hiding out from the Magio in a place like Chicago is that they're not the kinds of people that the Magio would be looking for. So throwing them off the scent isn't really all that necessary, because if you really need something from the Nessos, you're going to go to Bennett VI. You're going to go to the Patriarch and the Matriarch, and they're the ones who are going to give you what you need. You certainly aren't going to have to exact some kind of debt from the youngest child or the nerdiest child, i.e. Jacob.
Yeah, I think also, like, maybe I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, Theo has, like, business cards with, like, Theo Jones, but, like, her license, like, driver's license still says Theo Nessos. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll touch on, like, what organizations are in Chicago.
I do want to briefly talk about the whole Jones thing, that the first time that she whipped that out. So I think it was the first time that we properly met Theo was, episode 1 of this season. And she's like, "Hi, I'm Theo Jones." And because Tessa Jones's last name is Jones, we all were like, "That's a suspicious last name. Why is it Theo Jones? Any relation?" But there wasn't. So.
Yeah, Jonny, it's in the episode, but Jonny goes, "Are you doing that on purpose?"
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Yes,
Like,
I am. Thank you for blowing my cover.
That's actually a very suspicious last name, Theo.
Yeah. It's also a very common last name.
We're not good at it, okay?
All right. Let's move on to the next question. We've got a lot of questions from Dyxon coming up.
Yeah.
Jonny, why don't you take the next ones?
Is this the Get Dark one?
Yes.
Let's get dark.
Ish.
Has Mark's emotional range expanded to the point where he actually likes Theo? Or does he just think that he should like Theo because that's something that people do?
Can I add to this? Like, when did you
Go ahead.
like know or think like, yeah, Mark's gonna like Theo or Mark likes Theo?
So I think at this point, Mark liked Theo, but not in the, romantic kind of fashion. I feel like he was more like still trying to figure out what love really is and what an emotional, connection like that is. The connection that we've had up until that point and everything was very, you help on me, I help on you. We're very close to each other, and like I think he was starting to get the putting those pieces together and stuff. But like I think at this point he was still trying to like figure that out. But he knew that you were for lack of a better term, you were good, and that he wanted to, be with you, but I don't know if it was on that emotional, like 100% on that emotional level yet.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know, like...
Theo's like, I don't know about that. That
Well, I
seems
was
a little
thinking
shitty.
about it, and I was trying to think about, because, like, I've asked this question to, like, other podcasts, like, when was the moment you knew that your hunters were, like, now friends rather
Mark,
than,
you
like,
are.
they
Or
hunt
I just called you
together?
Mark. Your camera was all blurry for a second. It's fine now.
But, like, I'm right now I'm trying to think, like, when was the moment that, like, Mark and Theo, like, became more than friends?
I don't know if
And I feel
it's.
like,
I think it's kind of still in motion.
yeah, I feel like this one was, like, maybe a slow burn or a slow realization. Like, both of them are not very, um, uh, conscious of, like, how they're feeling about one another and things.
Yeah,
Theo probably less than Mark in certain areas.
I feel like if I were to visualize this, it would be like two live wires and they hit every once in a while and spark, but then they're just kind of like floating around each other, like eventually we'll touch and the thing will just like cauterize itself together. But I feel like it's just kind of this like not on that level. Okay,
no, that was a really cool metaphor.
Let's back
It's
that
very
up for a second.
interesting. No, you're fine.
But I mean, like that's what it was. It's like Mark has these moments of like, hey, wait, is this love? No. I'm overthinking it.
I have to feed
think
my bird.
Theo is kind of the same way. Yeah. Oh shit! I need to feed my bird. Damn it. No, but I think that, I mean, this, it seems like that was the case with Theo too. She's like, does Mark actually like me? No, he's just whatever, And it was just this moment, these little sparks or moments of
I don't-
Speaking of that question, you just said it. How often does the question, does Mark actually like me, go through Theo's head? Quote, all caps, insecurity for everyone, 3 exclamation points.
Exactly.
I don't think it, like, okay, this might sound really weird, but I don't think it ever does. Like, Theo's so self-conscious about so many other things, and her biggest worry is on other things, that it's not like, it's not the, does Mark actually like me?
But what I do feel like there was moments of that, wasn't there?
Well, there's moments where it's just like, oh wait, this is a thing. Like when we were riding on, I believe, the motorcycle. I'm trying to remember.
Mark got you lost.
Yeah, where Mark got us lost, and like I said something like, "No, yeah, it's fine. Like it's in the past," and you're like, "Right, the past." Like I don't know. There's certain moments where Mark will bring up like, is there something between us and whatever, and Theo's just like, oh, maybe, and then it's just kind of like avoidance and just like, so like this thing, take a left up ahead at like, I don't know. She's not actively thinking like, does Mark actually like me? It's more like, I think honestly, it's more like, do these people like me? Like,
I like my live wire analogy.
Am I their friend? No, it's good. I really like it.
Yeah, I think Mark and Theo's stories have been interesting in that they're coming at the same, they've gotten to the same problem through different means, where like Mark was isolated by being isolated and staying alone, and Theo was isolated by being sort of surrounded by exclusively family. Like Mark didn't date because he didn't never
what is date?
Yeah, he didn't know that it was a possibility and never allowed for it. Theo didn't date because it was never allowed to her. There was someone standing in her way from a normal life, which is honestly one of the things that I think is so interesting about this game, especially over the course of large campaigns. This notion, and this happened for both the teenage game with Sarah and the others, and with you guys, that like in D&D, you are powerful weirdos who your main goal is to become more powerful and more weird. But you can, in this game, be like, I don't want any part of this. I just happen to know that I'm the only person who can help right now. And so like in the Tiff game, it's Pascal who's just like, I'm trying to just be a good boy and be on the basketball team. And then in this, it's like Theo's like, I just want to get a job. And Mark's like, I just kind of want to make friends and be a journalist. And Kira too is just like, but it's like tough shit, you guys. You got to become weird in order to save the world, or that normal life will become even less of a possibility for you. Which I just love that delightful frisson.
I say one thing on
Really
like Theo and Mark, and then I can introduce the next question from Dyxon. Finishing season 1 and knowing that I was going to create another character and knowing it was Theo, I think like the end of season 1 and then maybe that first episode in season 2, Jonny just had this thing where he really wanted my character and John's character to be together, and he was trying to push Casey at first, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, no. Like, it was, like, it was cute in a way because, like, Mark
didn't Casey want to, like, kill me at first or something like that? Or was that... No, wait, I'm thinking of...
mad at you.
Yeah, you were mad at me.
Casey was mad at you. But, like, Casey and Mark actually have, like, a history, like, a backstory. Because they knew each other when they were like kids
in elementary school.
But so for me, I feel like, I don't know, Theo, I didn't go in with like I'm totally gonna like date Mark, or I was gonna date so and so, but
it just happened.
Yeah,
I did learn. I think I like to think I learned to like. I really pushed Casey and Mark hard.
You did it even in season 2, where you're like, you know,
because
Casey and Mark looks like... pretty cool right now. Okay.
Like
Mark lets out fart noise.
No. John.
It's like when I created Theo.
When did we transition from anime noise to fart noise? I want to go back. I want to go back to.
Yeah. No, I think when I created Theo, I was just kind of like, fine. If you really want John and I to have characters that love each other, Theo can be it. You can have Theo. And I don't know.
I think it just kind of naturally. I think it just kind of naturally fell into place, though.
Mm-hmm. In the end, yeah.
You guys' personalities are a lot better matched than Casey and Mark ever would have been.
She's very quiet. Mark is very quiet. He saw comfort in that because he shares that same kind of situation, and Mark wanted to help. So,
in my defense, when we started season 1, I did not know how weird Mark was going to be.
Oh, he got weird.
This is true.
So, Sarah, I have a question for you. Dyxon asks, I think you may have answered this already, but just in case, outside of Casey's special situation, do you, as people, believe Tiff was correct?
I think this is a question for all of us.
It sounds like all of us.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm gonna abstain for a little bit, though.
Due to Casey's special situation.
Yeah.
And do you believe Tiff was correct? I'm presuming, and push
by
back
leaving.
In the chat here, by like just piecing out and being like, they want the house, they can have the house, and then they'll leave us alone.
Mm-hmm. I think, as with anything, it's a little complicated, but I do think, like, I was thinking about this all day, because I'm like, imagine this is like a real world scenario. Like, what's like a good analogy for this? It's like, the house is on fire, you have to leave, but no, I have to go back for my CDs. And it's like, no, like, you need to leave. And it's from that perspective, I totally get where Tiff's coming from, and I think she was right to leave, and she was trying to protect her team. But from the character's perspective, there was a lot more going on, and I'm sure Maya will get into, there was some underlying reasons why it hit so hard for Casey, that the rest of the characters of the main cover story crew knew that leaving wasn't an option. So
I want to dig just a little bit deeper into this sort of prior to that point thing, Tiff era, because like this game does lend itself much better to being able to do this than other kinds of games. By which I mean, what am I trying to say? Like,
Words with mouth.
say words with mouth. There was an early on episode of the high school game Monsterville that we had played where like I remember thinking in my brain that you, the characters, were like, you saw the threat, you saw the monster, and you were like, I don't want to do any of that. I want to stay away from it, and we're all going over. Like, people kept coming up and giving basically like quest hooks, and you were like, no, I have basketball practice. I have a job. Tiff has to go to work after school. So, like, and if it was D&D, I would have been furious. But because it's this, it's like, no, yeah, that's what you would do. What I want to know is how much of Tiff leaving was just a carryover from that previous instinct, and how much of it was a very real sort of in the moment, these new player characters I have less than zero loyalty to. Like, explain to me precisely how merciless you are.
Going through your head.
I think it's a mix of both. I think definitely the loyalty played into it. I think she was like, this is a really dangerous situation. Like, if I stay in this place, like, I'm not, like, I didn't feel like she had any motivation to, like, risk her ass to that degree. Like, I don't think she's that altruistic. I think if it was, like, a mission through work or something like that, maybe. But, like, and then I also think she genuinely was like, why are you guys not coming? Like, why? I'm giving you the out. I did it. I did my job. Like, I have no further obligation beyond what I've already offered. Like, anything else would have been, like, just super out of character for her. So.
No, it made total sense. And, like, I remember at the time when we were playing, all of us feeling, like, totally, like, justified being, like, oh, like, what the fuck, Tiff? But then, like, listening back and, like, editing, I did the first pass of editing and then mine did the second pass. I remember listening back and I was like, I'm with Tiff. I'm like, this is uncomfortable for me to listen to. We're going at her. We're going at her so hard.
I do want to give like Sarah a compliment. Like, you really stick to like your character's like values and like don't really like your character wouldn't do like X. Like, I run a homebrew game and like your character in that game both challenges me and also like amuses me too. Like, she's definitely like, I'm not gonna do that. And so that I have to come up with a clever way to like include your character. And then there's sometimes these moments where you're like in a situation and you just like curveball me, but it is like the most beautiful thing. Like, long story short, one of my favorite moments was the 4-player group. 2 of the players were off doing something else, and Lauren and Sarah's characters are just like sitting in the back of a car, just kind of like waiting, and Lauren's character is just like, how do you do your makeup? And then there was this cute little scene between the 2 of you, like talking
How
about
do you?
makeup.
Yeah, I was like, how do you get your cat eye to
very
look
cute.
that good? Mine sucks.
No magic.
It
No
wasn't
act under
talking about,
pressure.
yeah, it wasn't talking about magic. It wasn't talking about like what's our next plan. It was like, girly, this is what Sarah's character would talk about and be interested in.
It's
Not a
cute.
phone in sight, just friends having fun.
Vibe. It was very lovely.
Yep. But I want to hear what John. I feel like we know kind of where like Casey and Kira sort of stand on the issue of Tiff leaving and that whole scenario. I want to know what Mark thought of the whole scenario of Casey's house getting brought to there and then Tiff just peacing out with her team.
I don't know where Mark was with that.
You were kind of preoccupied.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff happening, and I think Mark was just like, where did this, what? Just a little confused by all of it, but and as I recall, you guys got in a fight at the end, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what is happening? Like,
Yeah. Well, there they go again.
yeah,
girls are
and
fighting.
I think he was just like, we need to get back to what we were doing. Like, stop this shit. Like,
Yeah, cool as a cucumber.
but yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that whole thing. So anyway, that's how we feel about the whole scenario. Listening back to it now, I'm like, I'm sorry, Tiff.
Oh yeah, she had a point.
Yeah. But what about you, Maya?
What?
Girls are fun.
Plot torches.
As Casey, it's obvious that I was very upset, and there is a portion of me that is Casey, and we are very stubborn and we hold grudges.
Mhm.
Talk to us a
But
bit about
we-
why you were so upset. What did losing your home mean to you? What did that signify?
Well, we haven't gotten to that question yet. There's a couple of questions before that, before I need to like answer that. But I think though, as Maya, as a sane person, if John's in my, because John and I live
you
together.
see what you just did? You see what you did
I'm
there?
in the
Did you see
middle.
what you
I'm
just
middle of
did?
a conversation. Johnny,
Nope,
just wait.
Maya, you're
No,
deflecting.
we'll put you in the waiting
Casey,
room.
you're deflecting again. You're deflecting.
I don't know who this is. This isn't even my therapist.
This is Mendy's cousin.
I refuse to do Mindy's accent on camera.
As Maya, if my house burned down, like, yes, I would be very glad that nobody was in it, and it's just possessions that can be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still mad at it
Valid.
for many reasons.
Okay, I don't even know what order we're in anymore. I
Well,
think
so. Last we left off,
Thank
it
you.
was Johnny. How hard was it not
Johnny.
giggling when Kira and Tommy were taken out of the equation right at the beginning?
I assume that this is for the when we got
Yeah, when
when
you
we
were
were
at the
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and
We
Casey
went into the
protected
protection
them.
room or whatever. Yeah,
Yep, I protected them.
you did so good.
It worked great. You did great.
Was it really
It
my
worked.
fault or Nick's fault? Nick's the one that built it.
It was your
You
goal.
did the spell, so your fault.
Anyways,
So, I reject the premise of the question, first of all, because it presupposes that I was attempting not to giggle, which I absolutely would not have done. I think the listening back to it and remembering in the moment, it was perfect. Like the fact that that was where they were, and that was what they were trying to do, and that was the failure of the role was perfect, and it wound up being a hint that didn't read like a hint at the time of like, you are transported here and you are in a hole in the ground, and that hole in the ground shares a space with Casey's home, which means that now you two and only you two know that Casey's home has been transported somewhere else. It was perfect.
It
So
was.
I may have done,
I
I
think
may have gone on mute, or it may have been edited out of me just going, wait, no, yes, yeah.
Well, it was
Might have been your
perfect.
head.
It was perfect too, because I think you even like said it during the episode, like this is a bottle episode, and it was like it was just such a good scenario to like find ourselves in. It was wonderful. I really liked that.
Yeah, and it was
did
great.
also-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did enjoy Gia standing over Kira and Tommy when they poofed back. I don't know, it was just it just worked
Oh,
out
I
so
love
good.
Gia. I love Gia. She's so great.
Yeah, it's funny because
Tiff,
she's like
I
the
wish you could have
least-
hung out with Gia, even though she's almost
Yeah.
definitely ace.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is like I think the least on camera member of my team that I have.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's.
Cute.
I imagine her also as actually. Maybe she should have a different last name because she's in my head. She is the woman who is now the main character of the movie Prey, who I knew at the time as the female Carrie from the FX show Legion. That's kind of what I imagine Gia looking like.
Okay. And Maya quickly goes and Googles.
Oh, I'm looking up my team's last name. I have it written down.
Gia Aquino, I'm pretty sure.
Amber Thundertree.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
Awesome. All right, well then, Maya, do you want to continue with that question?
Which question?
Who other than Ramsey ordered the weirdest pizza? What was it? Yeah, I don't know, but versus characters versus players. I feel like Anna would order a very weird pizza for herself. Like, she'd get, like, the kind... Where did Jonny go?
I think he went off camera.
Oh, okay.
Probably get himself a beer.
Oh, probably. I think Anna would probably order something quite weird. I feel like she'd get, like, she'd get one of those, like almost like junk pizzas where it's like they just put everything on it, like M&Ms and like all sorts of weird things.
Oh my God.
That she would totally do that.
Let's try all the sugar.
Yep.
Tiff ordered a pizza topped with tears and broken dreams on behalf of the queen.
True.
This is true.
This
What
is
kind of
what they
pizza
call
would-
reading.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of pizza would Tiff get, Sarah?
I have no idea. I feel least tuned into Tiff's food preferences.
If Tiff and Leth were gonna have a Netflix and chill with pizza date night, what pizza are they ordering?
I have no idea.
Do you think Tiff is
feel
also a
obliged.
vegetarian?
No, Tiff's definitely not a vegetarian.
Okay.
I think that's where I get stuck. I'm like,
I don't eat
I don't
that
know
food.
what food there is. I don't know. I don't know.
Chili
Cheese.
bass? Is that a meat?
Sausage McMuffin.
Corn.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. I have no idea. Just a pizza. Just a pizza. Just a regular pizza with just regular stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
People eat.
Yep.
I mean, I feel obliged to point out that traditionally, in the classical definition of the term Netflix and chill, pizza has no role.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
It's just a
I know what
formality.
you mean. I know what you mean.
I think that Theo would try anything once, so she'd be open to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Casey would not order pizza; she would make it on her own.
Mark likes pepperoni pizza. His bird likes mice.
Yes.
I will say, yes.
Half
I
and
will
half.
say, because I believe I had asked Dyxon in the thread, is this referring to the characters or the players? And he said both or something.
Mm-hmm.
I personally
Oh God!
love
Peanut butter and Italian sausage with pineapple.
Ugh. I'd try it.
there was a
I'd give it a shot.
Until pineapple.
Yeah.
there was a peanut butter pizza up at this restaurant way up north that my brother had like tried once. But my go-to pizza is a bacon, onion, and pineapple pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like a late night thing with like a friend. I was like, well, I want pineapple and they wanted onion and then we put bacon on it.
I
Speaking of-
personally am a fan of breakfast pizzas. Really good with like gravy on it. It's good.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
delicious. And sausage. Yum.
Did you ever have them at our college?
Oh yeah,
Like-
that's what I'm talking about. It's like-
oh yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, the dessert
that
pizza
that
was so much
that
better.
and the dessert pizzas that they had,
Mhm.
which were so bad for you.
Yeah. Anyway, you were
Mac
saying.
and cheese pizza, hell yeah.
Were you saying something else that I cut you off, John?
No, I
Oh,
was
okay.
just I was busy being hungry.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Sarah, do you have a go-to pizza? I know you. We know a weird amount of each other's eating habits otherwise, but I don't think I've ever seen you eat or order a pizza.
There's one really good one that we've started getting locally that has like squash on it. It's got
Ooh.
like like really thinly
Oh,
sliced
yeah.
squash and then like a honey drizzle on top of that. And like
Damn, I'd
it's
try that.
really good. It's like really sweet and like
That sounds
it's my favorite
delicious.
pizza currently.
Mhm.
I like
Is anyone-
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, go
Come
ahead.
visit you and have that with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I required and pizza at some point when we were in
Now-
DC, and pizza was really good.
I might order that tonight.
Mm.
Do you guys have and pizza?
No.
No,
she's talking
no.
about fresh pizza.
Okay. I was like,
Do you
I will.
I feel confident that she was barely able to pay attention to you at all because she was
Sorry.
watching that pizza and drizzled with that honey.
yeah, we're going to Taco Bell after this. But...
Yeah,
All right.
I will say the best pizza I ever had in my whole life was one that I got from a stall on the street when I lived in France very briefly, and it was very simple: red sauce, mozzarella cheese, slabs of goat cheese drizzled with honey.
When did you live in France?
I studied abroad in my junior year of college.
He
This
was
is new
he
information.
he was a double English and French
I
major,
majored
you
in
guys.
French. I used
Yeah.
to speak it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Why do you
like,
think my accents are so impeccable for a limited amount of time?
It was so impeccable in our latest
And Murder on the Dance Floor.
It was great. I will say
Till
though,
the end,
on the
yeah, I can do it for a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I do not blame you. I will say, recently John and I stayed with my parents, and my parents got a like Costco pizza not Costco, Aldi's, and it was like pepperoni, but my mom like took half of the pepperoni off, put it on the other side, and then put squash and mushrooms that she had like made previously, like sautéed, then put it on it and baked it. It was fucking amazing.
That sounds good. I
It
love
was
squash.
I don't like mushrooms aside from Hy-Vee's stuffed mushrooms. Like that's
it was
It was
thick
so good.
pizza. It was a
Good.
thick pizza.
Nice.
It was
Yeah,
good.
if anybody gets an Aldi's pizza, just know that it's bigger than average.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I didn't know that.
All right. Moving on from pizza.
Oh, but I'm hungry.
Nope, we're gonna get deep. Deep dish pizza. I feel like season 1 had some important
Giordano's.
information on why Casey is so protective of her house. What's the story?
I don't know.
Maya.
I think it becomes a lot more important to her in season 2. I mean, aside from like the mechanical effect of that, it becomes her haven. I don't know. Casey and I just view it as like a place where like she doesn't have to be on. She doesn't have to be super agent Casey Davis. She can be safe. This is her place. This is where normal life happens. Okay, stop posting pizza in the chat.
I was about to post one because I found the pizza I'm talking about.
Post it and screw up.
One of the advantages of this system is that you are able to ignore the
Yes.
posts in the chat and continue to talk. So you can, there's a little X, you can just, and then, okay. So tell us more about the importance of home for Casey.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a place that like she feels safe, and like that's where her Thursday night dinners with Jesse happen every week, and I don't know, maybe Jonny can provide some more insight, or Lauren, I guess can.
I was gonna say, I mean, I feel like given Casey's journey that from what happened in season 2, she started off the season with her identity having been erased. Her home, everything that meant anything to her had been taken away from her once. She just got it back, like, recently. And then for it to be threatened and taken away from her again. Like, not to mention, like, all the memories and stuff that you were alluding to that were, like, made there and things like that. I feel like that's very, like, core to who Casey is. She loves her family and she loves... like, you talk about how, like, Casey likes to, like, cook and do all those, like, things, like... She, like Maya, is the caretaker. She wants to like take care of people, and like the home is where she does that from. Her home is where she does that from, and I don't know. I feel like that's maybe a little bit of what I was picking up on, but
yeah, no, you're right. That also made me think like it also was a matter of control was being taken away from her. Like
her
it was also
agency.
extremely shortly after that. Casey and Nick had installed these wards, and Casey's like, I've been attacked here
Yeah.
too many times, like, already. And for somebody, like, if somebody attacked her home, it'd be like, okay, it's fucking on. I will murder you. I will destroy you. Like, you will be gone. But for someone to, like, take her house, like, that was, I think, a little, like, earth-shattering, and Casey doesn't have good vibes and feelings about there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like there's a bit to it that's like, in a pretty real way for Casey and honestly for Tiff, that there is like this compartmentalization of the job as the job. And like we know, and like you have this kind of like low-key soldier thing of that we know when we go out there that this is what we're going to face and this is what's going to happen. And then the rest of the time is supposed to be not that. And it's like it's a cop show trope of like, when you go after this person, now you've made it personal, you've changed the game, you've broken the rules. We were supposed to be playing this chess game and you have made it into something else, and now I have to get angrier and worse, and this is going to go badly for us both.
Yep.
I know that, like, Thrythlind was pointing out how, like, it's like the haven and everything is like there, and like mechanically if it's gone, like, you're screwed. But like, I don't know. I don't view it as that. Like, I feel like I view it actually more like personally. Like, this is Casey's house. This is mine. You're gonna touch mine? Back off.
Well, I think Thrythlin's point is like, this is a way because you guys don't know this, but you're weird about how you play this game. Like, I mean that you guys have become invested in your characters on such an automatic level that like I don't have to give you mechanical consequences for your failed rolls. I can give you emotional consequences for them.
Destroy
and
us entirely.
that's not how necessarily everybody plays these games. But the point is that like you are building into the nuts and bolts of the game that feeling that you have for your home. It's like, it's the thing that they've tried to do and have only just gotten okay at doing with support characters in video games, where it's like, we want you to feel involved with this other person that you have to keep safe. So if you don't keep them safe, then you are punished mechanically in the game. And it's the same thing with your home, where it's like you have this attachment to your home, you see, and that attachment to your home has these very valid and mechanical benefits to the way you play this game. And that's a way of simulating that, what you kind of are talking about, this idea that like in your real life, where you're like, I go to my office and I do my office job, and then I come to my home, and then I have this different set of things that I'm able to get from my home that mechanically and physically aid me. This is a way to simulate that. But the real true thing about you fuckers is that like even Mark's house that barely has a couch is doing that for him. And if and when something threatens that, he'll fight for it, regardless of the fact that if it burned down, he could legitimately just go, oh, bye-bye house. Okay. But in the meantime, thank you for pointing out. Yes, Mark, you do have a bed. Congratulations.
Woo!
Yeah, I think it was interesting, like, looking back at it and like, correct. Tell me what you think, Sarah. But like, I mean, if Tiff's house like burned down, would she be like, okay?
Yeah, she'd just be really annoyed.
Yeah, or like, I think that this is the house that Casey has had like since leaving her parents. Like, this is hers. So
Yeah, it's a special place for her.
Sarah, can I talk about the second most devastating thing I ever said to Tiff?
Oh, absolutely. I can't
Kevin?
wait for the first most devastating thing to air.
Honestly, Sam,
I think about it every day.
it's perhaps my finest work. But no, so I'm going to give some backstory, because this was on the same tip of this has fictional implications, but no mechanical implications, which is one of the wonderful things that I appreciate about you guys as my players and about this game as my game, that like, how much backstory is this going to entail? Actually, not that much. So they're teenagers. Tiff as a teenager with some friends fighting crime. Tiff as a teenager has an older brother and a younger brother. Tiff and her friends, through reasons that make sense because of magic, are shot through time 10 years in the future. The rest of the world has just gone on throughout those 10 years, but those characters have just been missing from it. And so then they turn up as they were in 2002, but in 2012, and they meet their friends and family 10 years older. And Tiff meets her younger brother, who is now older than her, and they have a tough time getting along. And Tiff, you argued with him so hard and pushed back in such a shitty big sister way that he had thought he had decided to grow out of, that what he said to you was, it was easier when you were missing.
Yeah. Oof.
It's better when you disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the thing that was so cool about that was that like, this character in this game has no function. Like, mechanically, numbers-wise, as concerns your ability to perform actions in the game, this character has no role.
Mm-hmm.
But in the other part of the game, in the game where you are making a person who has contact and friendship simulator and relationships and can grow and become decent and eventually become maybe someone who doesn't have any weird shit and just has friends and family, that it's one of the worst things I've ever said as an NPC to a player.
It was awful, and there was no resolution because they sent back to the past, and so how is it? She has to carry. She has to carry that weight.
Yeah.
But she got her She had her second chance to, now with her little brother as her little brother.
But she's Tiff, and she's never gonna see it that way. She's just gonna be like, "Wow, he fucking hates me, and he wishes I would disappear."
Yep.
Stay tuned for the Games We Play Volume 2 with another of my very favorite Sarah Baker songs.
Yes.
It's so good.
Oh, I
so
forgot
good.
about that one. Oh, that's sad. I still have to write one about.
Can I put that out? Can I please put that out?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Post it in the chat.
I have one I have to record about Tiff and the Queen that I have. That's also
You need
a rough time.
help. I mean,
I always need help. I can't play guitar to save my life.
I'm your guy. Please let me.
Cool.
I kind of just want to like take a minute and just compliment you, Jonny.
Uh-oh.
You have to tap it in a minute.
But like, I mean, I said this on the stream with Sarah from Rugged and Wolf, but like, it's been really, really fun having you as like the storyteller running the game. Yes, you know how to emotionally bring us along and devastate us and hit us. Yeah, it just that the story you shared about Tiff, like it reminded me about, and maybe this was just me, but like remembering how far like Casey and Jesse's relationship had been, because like they weren't good on good terms, but then like now, like they would. It's a different like term, and I think that's also the same with maybe Kira and Donovan.
Oh, Kira and Donovan had we'll have to talk about more about their whole background more in a future AMA maybe, but they've come a long way.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, like I could go on and on about Casey, but like I'd love to do like, I don't know, a moment where we talk about their backstories and some of the random stories that we've written about and that like happened. I don't know. I always think back to like, holy crap, like Jesse taught Casey to drive, and just be like, whoa, that
Well,
information's there.
And I feel like we've touched on this before too. Like, I was actually listening to today's or yesterday's episode of Four-Sided Dive on Critical Role, and they had a question that I was like, "Ooh, this is a good question, and I want to bring this up for our own AMA," where it was like, "How much backstory do you typically want to come to the table with your characters versus having kind of come out in play?" And I feel like in this game in particular, I'm almost like have some, but like please like let it unfold as it comes, because that's like what we did for a lot of our characters. Is we kind of, it's a collaborative story, and we kind of found stuff that resonated with where things were and wrote it into the fiction, and then it sort of became true. That's the case with a lot of the stuff with like Casey and Jesse, with Tessa, with Donovan. Donovan was never in Kira's backstory until like halfway through season 1. And he became the huge part of her. So
yeah, the way we started this was very fun. Jonny just like, here's an option of playbooks.
Yep.
Pick one that's cool. Gave us like 20 minutes or whatever, and then just asked us like, what's your character's deal?
Yep.
And I think mine was just like a couple of things, and just on the back of my like.
You made a family tree.
I didn't make a family tree. I figured out that I had a brother, 2 parents, and
5 aunts and uncles. No.
regardless.
Yeah.
I want to ask like the same question at you, Jonny. Like, as a keeper, how much backstory do you like?
Do you prefer
a player coming to?
None. None.
As little as possible.
What I've come to appreciate, I first identified it as such by watching Adventure Time, of all things. That like the thing that's interesting about that show, and what I've seen a lot of fiction take this from that. Sometimes they learn the lesson wrong. Sometimes, a lot of time, they learn the lesson wrong. But it's also an old saw from fiction, and I promise I'm going to say actual substance soon. That there is
okay, Michael Scott.
There is a huge amount of backstory in Adventure Time, and it's all very interesting, and it's all very devastating, and it's very dense, and a lot of stuff has happened, and it all informs what's happening now. But sometimes they're just gonna make pancakes for the day, and like, but the thing that like all of that stuff happened over there, and we're here, and we have to deal with now, and we have to deal with each other, and the parts of that show and shows like it that actually connect and resonate aren't the parts where they discover stuff from the past, because that's you just doing archaeology. The parts that resonate are the parts where the characters come into conflict with each other and have to figure a way forward. It's the parts where they like connect in these ways. And the way I've taken to putting it is what came before is never as interesting as what happens next. So like, you can have whatever backstory you want. I'm never really that much of a cop about it. I think the thing about Powered by the Apocalypse games, especially when you have nerds who take moves like Dark Past and shit, like expect and demand a malleability of your past.
Yeah.
So come with enough to be like, here's my deal.
Yep.
Which there's a section on my resume that says, what's my deal? That's how I think about things. What is your deal? I want to know what your deal is. And if you want to tell some story about what happened to you before or how you got to this point, go write a book. You can do it every November. I recommend it. It's fantastic. Go write a story. That's great. But if you are playing a game, you are playing the game to figure out what happens. And Thrythlind is saying a lot of this in the chat, that it's personal history is interesting, but it's about, you have to leave the rest of it to be emergent is the term. Right. Emergent narratives, that what you are, why limit yourself to your own imagination? Right. You are pressing this character you have come up with up against the world and up against other characters, and you are putting them into the kinds of situations that as an author, become these are creative writing exercises. Every single one of our sessions is the kind of thing that you do to better get to know your character before you start writing. What would happen if this person came up against their very nemesis? What would happen to this person if they found themselves with no money and had to react? Like, what happens next is always more interesting than what happened before.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
why we play these games.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm realizing is that I've said it a bunch of times, this game is smarter than me. I think it's smarter than all of us. And I think I venture to say anyone who would play this game in the future, it will be smarter than you. Whatever you think for your backstory won't be as interesting as what you realize would be interesting in the moment 2 months in.
Yep. For sure.
So we all know that I adore this topic for my guesting on Sarah from Red Case character creation thing. And I definitely want to have this kind of conversation on a future book club with some other players from other podcasts. So you can let us know in the chat if there's anybody you would love to see to come on to talk about player stuff. But I do also want to kind of ask the same question to like Sarah. Like, you came with Tiff already like knowing a backstory, but like the four of us have played other games with you with other characters. So like when you're building those characters, how much information on the character do you bring? Do you bring a name and a attitude, like what their attitude
Their general
is?
vibe.
Or like do you come with like a history book?
Yeah, no, just the name and the vibe usually. Like I know that like for Shelby, my character in your other game, like I'd written up a little bit of backstory, but I don't think it ever came into play. Like I was remembering recently some of the stuff I wrote in that, and I was like, oh, that's not true at all. You know what I mean? Like, I think you don't know the character until you play them a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think it also depends on the keeper, because I think for that one, like, I probably asked you guys to like give me some information because I was going to use it more, but then I learned how to be a keeper, and I use it sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Archaeologist brush is the term that I use. That you're like, you start with
Covering it
nothing, and then you very gradually dig in these little ways to experience small pieces of you that become the totality of your personality.
Yep. For sure. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and I think to try and like wrap this bit up, I can just go on and on about it. I love it so much. But like I feel like if you come like with too much, you're just gonna get like disappointed in the end. Like, oh well, this didn't happen, or I wanted this, or like whatever.
Nope, that's definitely true.
I don't know. I do think that if you're wanting to have a lot of backstory, like Jonny said, write some stories, like write some like side short stuff. I do that all the time when I'm wanting.
We have fanfic.
When I'm wanting a Casey or a Theo hit in the middle of like the week and we're not playing, like I just late at night write a little like scene and I feel better.
That is very true. Alrighty, I think we just have one final question, right?
Yeah, can I ask like the first part of this 3-part question? Who's gonna teach Mark to use a GPS? John.
No one, if I have anything to do with it.
I think that might be a Casey question, because honestly, she set up the security system in his house, and like the only thing that Mark ever knew he needed a phone for was contacting people. And like, well, no, wait, no, hold on. And the internet, because I feel like he's looked something up before. But beyond that,
something up before. You are a reporter.
Yeah, but I need stuff for my birds. So,
yeah,
you see, so like
that takes precedent.
Yeah.
Yes, Casey's definitely set up like your security and stuff.
Yes,
I feel like,
and I think she would be like, you know, that you don't have to get lost every time you.
Yeah, and I feel like Theo and Mark would work on it together, but Dyxon firmly believes that it is Anna and asks why is it Anna, and also to the two Lauren and John, how could that go wrong? I mean, I can see it.
I feel like Anna would say like, oh yeah, no, here's what would happen. Anna would say, okay, yeah, I'll teach you how to use this GPS. We're going to plug in this address, and would absolutely take him somewhere like the last place Mark would want to go, like fucking like a strip joint or something, like stupid like that. And would be like, no,
These
let's go.
people are
It's
so
fine.
nice to
This
me.
is where you wanted to go. And would definitely do that, pull that move, or somewhere like that she would just want to go like selfishly and be like, oh well, this is where you wanted to go, right, Mark? So yeah.
My gas tank is almost empty. My motorcycle. Say we.
Oh shoot! I entered in the wrong address again.
You would think they would have designed something for.
Yeah. That's absolutely what would happen though.
Yeah, it totally would.
I have a random question for Sarah. It's not on our list. It came up in my brain. Have we talked about like how Tiff met or got with the queen? Like, how did that all happen?
Your phrasing of got with.
Yeah, I know that's what I thought. My mind went there too.
Okay, but am
Like,
I
well,
wrong?
She got with
all,
the queen.
I
No.
can hear the queen saying, "I wouldn't phrase it that way," and then I can hear Tiff saying, "You wouldn't."
In Johnny's game, the teens all got their powers by smoking magical weed in a basement.
Beautiful.
And
Classy.
Everybody else got like nice guardians though, and Tiff
Yeah.
got the
Well-
queen.
Well, so here's what I did, and I'm very I was very proud of this, and it worked out exceedingly well, because what I wanted to do that I later on came to understand is something that you shouldn't really do in this game, is I wanted to have you be normal until something happened, and then you became magical. And so what I had you do was your like introductory episode 1 tutorial was to create this sort of Jenkum style scare your parents super complicated to do drug that's like definitely not real, except it totally is, and also it's magical. So you do this drug and then you all get magic. Not only did you get magic, you all got a specific kind of magic. So I had you roll on a random table that I had made of what kind of magic you would get. And the magic that Tiff rolled was shadow, and so I had a number of these guardians all set. But then the other thing was that Tiff was the original connection to the drug dealer, and so had hung out with him and smoked his shit previously, and so had had that kind of magic already potentially for months. So yeah, that's where, and it was always an abusive relationship, and she was the worst one. And what sucks is, I'm sorry, Tiff, some of them were nice.
do you know what was on the tables for the different magic?
I know it was I don't remember where I started. I know it was a D6. I know that the other players got Pascal wound up with water, which was the Monarch of the Seas. And Lucas got the Kingdom That Walks, which was Forest. And then I think that was it initially. Tony, we found out, wound up with the Once in Future, which was Time. But he was too stupid to know that he figured out that he'd been granted magic because Tony sucks.
It was so perfect though. I was so happy it worked out that way. Like I've exactly what I would have wanted Tiff to have. It's like all the things I'm interested in exploring for Tiff's character. Like it's perfect.
Well, and it became this other thing that I love about this game, that like I've tried to do this in D&D style games too, where it's like I want to get under the skin of my characters and then have some kind of a threat or side character who can call them out on things that will make them uncomfortable. And I've never been able to do it because I've always been playing with these 3.x dweebs who are like, my character's name is who gives a shit, he's these numbers.
Yeah.
But you guys were so good, and like I was able to like sort of tailor the Guardians to what would be a good complement to the characters themselves. And like ditto with all the NPCs in your guys' lives that like because the true fact of it is what kinds of friends would a person like this make? That has so much impact on the kinds of NPCs that show up, especially when those kinds of NPCs are assumed to have been showing up for this person for years.
Yeah.
Like, who's Casey's team? Who would sign up to work for Casey Davis? Who would sign up to work for Tiff Torres?
Right.
Like,
I like to think they didn't sign up. They got assigned.
But yeah, no, the whole Guardian thing is very interesting. I know we've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, but that was originally from the teen game, and it's kind of crept its way into ours. With the Queen being one of the elemental guardians, primordial guardians, and then I think the City of Blood has been mentioned briefly. They are technically currently in Kira's head, but she hasn't really talked to him. So, yeah, just one more thing in her head. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all part of being a cult.
Yep.
Being part of a cult.
Cults. Fun times. Okay.
Well, speaking of fun times, this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, everybody, for your questions. We really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
chatter in the comment box. We love that
Yeah.
shit.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Yes.
Both for this
Thank you
and
for
the
having
podcast.
me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tiff Torres will return. So you guys will be seeing her at a later point. So thanks for joining, everybody. We're glad
Thanks,
to do
everybody.
these. Bye
Have a great night and have a good rest of the week.
Yes.
great cast.
Bye.